Hi guys, this is another lecture of financial management, and in this lecture we are going to cover the IRR, which was in the last lecture we were continuing with capital budgeting techniques, and IRR was the only technique that was being left. So today we'll cover that topic. So just a brief introduction before I start with the lecture. So myself, Sandhya Rao, working as an assistant professor at St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management. I'm working in the BBA department and finance is my major subject. So today we'll start with the IRR topic. So this is internal rate of return, and this is one of the modern techniques of capital budgeting. In this method also, we will consider the time value of money, and in this method, what we are trying to do is that we want to know a rate at which the NPV will become zero. So basically we are trying to find a discounting rate at which the NPV will become zero, which means the inflows, the present value of inflows will become equal to the present value of all the outflows. And when the present value of inflows is equal to the present value of outflows, the NPV will come zero. So here our task is to find that discounting rate, and that discounting rate is actually known as internal rate of return. In this method, it's all internal. Why internal? We are not using any external method. We are not using any external rate which is being used by other people or which is being in use in the market. So this rate is totally dependent upon the investment that I'm going to pursue, and the outlay, or you can say the expense or the cost of that investment, and the proceeds associated with that project, or the cash inflows that I'm going to receive on that investment. So from both these things, I'm going to find the internal rate of return. I'll give you an example and I'll make it more clear with the example. So this is the example in which we have to find the IRR of the investment, which is having initial cash outflow of 2,13,000, and the cash inflows during the first, second, third, and fourth years are expected to be 65,200, 96,000, 73,100, and 55,400 respectively. So all these four cash inflows have been received at the end of first, second, third, and fourth year. So now we have to find out the IRR, which means we want to find out a rate at which the present value of all these inflows will become equal to the outflow, or you can say the cash outlay, which is of 2,13,000. Now, usually in other questions, it is very simple for us to find out the present value because already a discounting rate is given to us. We just simply check the log table, we calculate or we find out the value corresponding to that rate of return and the given year. Now here we are given the years, which means the investment is for 4 years. We are given the cash flows, we are given the cash outlay also, but we are not given the rate. So here we have to find out that rate so that our NPV will become zero. So basically we are trying to go reverse. This exercise or this technique makes us to go reverse. So I'll tell you the solution or how we actually do this or how we are going to find out IRR step by step. So the first step is that you write down what your cash outlay is or your cost of investment. So the cash outlay in this question is 2,13,000, which is given to us in the question. Second thing is you have to calculate the total cash inflows, which means whatever inflow or whatever return you are getting from that investment, you just have to add it. Okay, if the cash flows are uneven, which means that in the first year you're receiving some other amount, in the second year you have received something else, and in the third year if you're receiving something else, so you just add all of them and you will get the total cash inflow. So I have added all the cash inflows. 65,000 plus 96,000 plus 73,100 plus 55,400. And the total comes out to be 2,89,700. So this is my total cash inflow. So now I have calculated the cash outlay. I have calculated the total cash inflow. Next thing is you have to find out average cash inflow. Okay. Why we are calculating average cash inflow? Because these cash flows were uneven. They were not same. They were not uniform. So to solve the question, we want one figure, or let's say we want one average cash inflow. So for that, we have divided it by 4 because all these cash flows, all these cash inflows are for 4 years. So I have divided the total cash inflow by 4, which means whatever total cash inflow you are getting, you will divide it by the number of years. Okay? So now my average cash inflow is 72,425. Now we have to calculate the payback period. Payback period we have already done, which is one of the traditional technique of capital budgeting, in which we simply divide the total cash outlay by the annual return. So here initial outlay divided by average inflow. So this comes out to be 2.9409. We have divided 2,13,000 by 72,425 and the payback period comes out 2.9409. Okay, we will take this value till 4 decimal places. Now the life of the project was 4 years. Okay, so this much is done. Now the actual exercise will start. Now I'll be using the log table. I'll show you how to do it. And in that log table, we will restrict ourselves to the present value table for annuity. We will not use non-annuity table. We will only use annuity table in this case. So in that, what we are going to do is we will find out the corresponding rates. We will find 2 rates relating to that particular payback period. Okay. So your payback period was 2.9409. It was 2.9409. I'll show you the log table. In that, I will have to find a corresponding rate at which for a period of 4 years. Okay, let's see. Let's do it. Let's find it out. All right. So this is the log table. The value was 2.4909. Okay. Now the life of the investment or life of the project is 4 years. So you have to check the and also see that I'm using the present value interest factor for annuity. Okay, we will always use annuity table in IRR. Okay, to find out the rates. So if you could see for 4th year, these are the present value interest factor, okay, for annuity. Now out of these I have to find those 2 values which are closer to 2.9409, okay, and corresponding to that I will find out the rates. So if you could see, the first amount is 3.9020, which is too far. 3.8077, which is again too far. So if we start moving towards the right, you can see that we are getting closer and closer to 2.9. My actual value was 2.9409. So if you could see, the 2 values that I'm getting are 13% and 14%. So 2.9409 will lie between 13% and 14%. These are the 2 nearest value. One is lower than 2.9409 and the other one is greater than 2.9409. So you always have to take 2 values like this only. One will be slightly lesser than the value, actual value, and one will be slightly more or greater than the actual value. Okay. And like this, you will take those 2 interest factors. So here 13% and 14% are the 2 values. Okay. Now, moving back to the question. Now here, the payback period value ranges between 13% and 14%. So now the next step is that we will be calculating net present value at 13% and 14% for the respective cash flows. Okay. So if you could see this table, I have listed all the years in the first column, and I have written all the cash flows which have not been discounted yet in the second column. Okay. And I have written present value factor at 13% in the third column and present value factor at the rate of 14% in fifth column. So let's start with NPV. So we all know when the year is 0, the present value factor will always be 1. So for 2,13,000, which was our cash outlay, the present value factor will remain 1, and that is why the present value, which is in the fourth column, is same. Now, for year 1, 65,200 will become 57,702 because the present value factor for 1 year at 13% is 0.8850. Now guys, one more thing I want to tell you is यहाँ पे जो हमने PV factors use करे हैं, they are not from the annuity table, they are from the non-annuity because we are calculating NPV for uneven cash flows. They are not same, okay? But when we are trying to find out the rate of interest, we will take annuity table because there we are taking average figure. Okay, average figure was being taken. That is why it becomes uniform, and that is why we were using annuity tables. But when we are going to calculate NPV for uneven cash flows, we will take normal non-annuity tables. Okay. So we have calculated the present values of all the cash flows at 13% and 14% respectively in fourth and sixth column. So you could see this. Now the total inflows of the total value of the inflows, the present value of inflows comes out to be 2,16,140 at 13%, and it's 2,12,441 at 14%. Now we will calculate the NPV. How do we calculate NPV? NPV is equal to present value of all inflows minus present value of all outflows. So your present value of all inflows in the first case is 2,16,140. So we will subtract 2,13,000 from this, and you will get an NPV of 3,140. And in the second case, at 14%, the present value of all cash inflows is 2,12,441, and we will subtract 2,13,000 from this, and the amount will come negative. Why? Because here your outflow is more than the inflow. So that is why NPV is negative. Okay. So now what to do after this? The next step is this formula. We will calculate IRR by interpolation. Okay. Now the formula for this is R1 plus NPV at rate 1 multiplied by R2 minus R1 divided by NPV at rate 1 minus NPV at rate 2. Now this NPV at rate 1 means NPV at the lower rate. Okay, we have calculated two rates, 13% and 14%. Now out of these two rates, 13% is the lower one. So whatever NPV comes at the lower rate is known as NPV for rate 1. Now NPV 2 means NPV at higher rate, which was 14% in this case. Okay. So NPV at rate 2 means NPV at higher rate, which is minus 559. And NPV at lower rate was 3140. Okay. Now R1, which is the lower interest rate, is 13%, and R2, which is the higher rate, is 14%. So here IRR will become 13 plus 3140 multiplied by 14 minus 13 divided by 3140 minus of 15. Now see, this is very important. already the NPV at second rate is in negative, okay, and we have to subtract this amount from NPV at rate 1. So using BODMAS, or you can say the log of algorithm, we will have to actually add this because it's in bracket, and when we will remove this bracket, the sign will change, so it will become plus. So 3140 plus 559, okay, and we will solve it, and the answer will come 13.848% approximately, okay. So this is how we do it by interpolation method. So I'll give you one more example on this IRR method. If you could see this example, Fast Carriage Company is considering to purchase a large truck, and the expected useful life of the truck is 14 years, which means you will be using it for 14 years. So the life of project is 14 years. Now the cost and net cash inflow associated with the new truck is as follows. The cost is 2,73,400 and the expected annual cash inflows is 50,000. Now here, the question is very simple because we are already given one figure for annual inflow. Okay, we do not have to calculate the average inflow. It's already given to us in average form. It's 50,000. Okay, now we have to compute the internal rate of return, and we have to tell whether the management should pursue it or not. If the and the management actually wants a 15% return on all such investments. So we will see what the internal rate of return comes out, whether it's greater than this 15% or not, and then we will decide whether we should go for it or not. So the first thing that you have to do in this case is calculate the payback period. Okay, and how do we calculate payback period? We divide the total cost by the annual, or you can say the average annual inflow. Okay, so we will divide 2,73,000, which is the cost of the truck, by the average annual inflow. So we have divided it here, 2,73,400 by 50,000, and the internal rate of return factor, you can say the payback period, comes out to be 5.468. Okay, 5.468. Now we will use the annuity table. We will use the present value table for annuity, and we will check that what are the two corresponding interest rates for this value. Okay, and we will see it for 14 years because the time period is 14 years. So again, we'll move to the present value table of annuity. Now here, see, years is 14%. So simply, so the first thing that you want to do is highlight the entire line for 14%, for 14 years. Okay, so this is the 14 years row. So here, the value that we are going to find out is 5.468. Okay, so we will check for 5.468 in the row of 14 years. So find out a value nearby 5.468. It starts with 13.004. So we will have to shift to the right side. Okay, 5.4. 5.468. Okay, 15%. So 5.468. The two values that are nearby this are 15% and 16%. Okay, so we will take these two values, 15% and 16%. See, at 16%, it's 5.4675, which is slightly lesser than 5.468. Okay, and at 15%, the value is 5.7245, which is slightly more than it. Okay, so the only two values which are very close to our question is 15% and 16%. Okay, so we will move back now. So moving back to the question, the two values are 15% and 16%. Now the next step is we will calculate NPV at 15% and at 16%. Okay. So for now in this case, since we were already given the average inflow, which means there were not uneven cash inflows, so we will use annuity table for NPV also. Okay, because यहाँ पे अलग अलग cash flows नहीं है, एक single case है या मतलब annuity का case है. Okay, so NPV at 16%. What is the formula of NPV? Present value of inflows minus present value of outflows. So 50,000 multiplied by the present value interest factor for annuity. I'll show you how to do it. The amount is 50,000 and the years is 14 years and the rate is 15%. So we will check the PV IFA factor. Okay. So for 15% and 14 years, the value is how much? 5.7245. 5.7245. We'll simply write it here. 5.7245 multiplied by 50,000. Okay. And this comes out to be 2,86,225. Now from this, we will subtract the present value of our outflows, which is 2,73,400. And the NPV comes out 12,825. Okay. Similarly, we will calculate the NPV at 16% also. So the present value of all cash inflows minus present value of all cash outflows. Now here in this case, the PV factor for annuity will be taken for 16%. Okay. So moving back to the table, we will have to check for 16% and 14 years. So quickly check this 16% and 14 years. The value is 5.4675. 5.4675. This value. 5.4675. Okay. Now we'll write this value in the question. So I have written 50,000 multiplied by 5.4675. Okay. And this will give me the value 2,73,375. Out of this, I will subtract present value of outflow, that is 2,73,400. Now again, inflow is less than outflows, so the value is negative. So here the NPV is negative, it's minus 25. Okay. Now we have got the two interest rates, we have got the NPV also. Now we will simply put all the values in the IRR by interpolation method. Okay. Now the formula is this: R1 plus NPV at rate 1 multiplied by R2 minus R1 divided by NPV at rate 1 minus NPV at rate 2. So R1, which is our lower rate, is 15%. So 15 plus. Now see, NPV here was how much? NPV at rate 1 was how much? 12,825. So I have written that. Now R2 is 16, R1 is 15. So 16 minus 15 is 1. Divided by NPV at rate 1 minus NPV at rate 2. So 12,825 minus of 25. So this minus gets cancelled, it becomes plus. So 12,825 plus 25 हो जाएगा ये, ठीक है? So we will solve it and the answer comes out 15.998%. Okay, approximately. So this is how we do this is how we calculate IRR. Okay. So this is it. And in the next slide, I have kept a few questions for you. So you'll be doing these questions. Consider the project with the following expected cash flows. The cash flows are given for 3 years, year 1, year 2, and year 3. In the time period 0, the cash outlay, or you can say the cost of investment, is 2 lakh. And the cash inflows are 50,000 in year 1, 50,000 in year 2, and 2 lakhs in year 3. The discount rate is 5%, and you have to calculate the NPV, okay, at 5%. and then you have to calculate the project's internal rate of return. Now see, when you will be calculating internal rate of return, please avoid this 5%. Okay, assume that you have been given a new question. Don't start doing it at 5%. Okay, to assume it to be a totally new question. Okay, and when you will be calculating profitability index, you can use this 5%. Okay, so this is it. So you will be doing these questions, and I have already shared a PDF with you in which more questions have been given to you. You can practice them as well. Okay, thank you guys.